ain't ever Christmas without the old-fashioned Christmas pudding. Now, usually a Christmas pudding is always made on Stir-Up Sunday, which is somewhere around the 22nd of November, and it's just allowed to infuse, marinate, and steep ready for Christmas Eve. I, however, like to create it more towards Christmas, making it more robust in flavor, and give it 48 hours and the marination holds well. Christmas pudding, though people don't attempt because they find it too hard and time consuming, yes, it is time consuming, but it ain't hard at all. You mix everything up and just go right ahead and steam it for a good 5 hours and you're ready. Let's get to creating it. Now, if you do not have a steamer, or like me, you're just too lazy to take it off from its glorified nesting place, in a large pot you fill about 1/4 of water and allow it to come to a roaring boil. Simmer it and keep while we start creating the batter to make this gorgeous Christmas pudding. So into my stand mixer out here, I'm just going to add 1/2 cup of softened butter. I like using salted butter just to add that zing of flavor. I'm going to put everything right in. Into that, I'm just going to add about 200 grams of the darkest of brown sugars. So I use extra dark brown sugar and just start to blitzing it. You need the brown sugar and the butter to get light and airy, emulsifying into each other, but at the same time just giving it that golden hue of color. Now, I've allowed this to emulsify for a good 10 minutes because I wanted to get the lightest of fawn colors and get super airy in the overall process. Into this goes 2 eggs now. Just pour it in and allow it to emulsify again. With the eggs emulsifying really well into the butter and the demerara sugar, in goes now a level teaspoon of some cinnamon powder, and you want this to be heavily laden with spice. So I use a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, I use 1/4 teaspoon of clove powder, and another 1/4 teaspoon of some nutmeg. You can omit the clove and the cinnamon and just go right ahead and use some allspice as well. Put that in and just allow it to emulsify. Now, I always have sultanas that are soaked in rum lying in the refrigerator, or just leave it outside. They are an ideal add-on to put on vanilla ice cream and enjoy. However, if you do not have that, no worries, just take a cupful of some dark black currants, soak them in rum overnight, and they go right in. So now comes the part of just adding in all the dry fruits. So with a cup of black currants soaked in rum going in goes 1/4 cup of some red cranberries, 4 tablespoons of orange peel that is candied, a cupful of golden raisins, 4 tablespoons of roughly chopped almonds, and 2 heaped teaspoons of roughly chopped candied ginger. And I love adding candied ginger to this entire Christmas pudding mix. Christmas pudding is so simple. Now it just involves everything mixing together and just emulsifying. It's that simple, that easy. Often a Christmas pudding uses a lot of suet, but I prefer using butter because suet not so happening for us. With everything mixed and it's a glorious gooey mass, in goes the rind that I've grated of 1 orange. And now what I've done is, in a cup I've taken the juice of that orange and just topped the entire cup up with some good old-fashioned dark rum. So that goes in as well. Sometimes I use that as an emulsion for a cocktail. Works really well. Just blitz this as well. In goes 120 grams of refined flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a slow bits just to get everything together. And finally, in goes 2 cups of fresh breadcrumbs. Just take a sandwich bread, nip off the edges and blitz it to the finest of crumbs. 2 cups of this going in. You just need to allow this to blitz on the slowest possible speed for a good minute to a minute and a half. The last item to go in is 1 apple that has been freshly grated, peeled and grated, going in, and it just adds to that soft and welcoming Christmassy texture. Allow it to blitz, and all you need to do now is put your pudding into the steamer and get to, in the meantime, lining your mold. Most often people use a ceramic basin, or what is commonly known as a pudding basin. However, I like to use steel because it's a lot more easier to work with. I'm just going to line it with some butter all around. Use your fingers in because it requires to be well coated and just smooth overall. Now at the bottom of this, since it's a semicircle dome-shaped mold, and that is a typical mold that you use with a Christmas pudding, I've cut a small circle that nestles at the bottom, and you just allow that to grease in as well. This helps the pudding to demold after it has been steamed just on Christmas Eve. With my steel glorious Christmas pudding basin ready and lined, I'm just going to pour the entire thing in. So it turns out to be about 1 kg of pudding, perfect for this, and it just fits right into the basin. With the pudding nicely nestled into the basin, and you're going to ensure that there are no air pockets, so just give it a light bang here and there so that it's perfect at the same level. Here I've got a circle the size of the basin, lightly greased with some butter, going right on top. So you just allow this to settle on top. And now you do not want any liquid to enter in, especially while steaming it. So here I've got 1 foot long parchment paper as well as foil, but I've just given it a pleat in the center together, and this settles on top as well. And now you just allow everything to settle tight, but you need to tie it. Now the trick out here is every basin that you use for your Christmas pudding must have a kind of a lip which allows it to be tied really tight. So here I've got a normal kitchen twine. Just nestle it under the lip and get to tie it tight. This ensures that you seal the pudding in and no water or vapor goes in as well. As we're steaming it in this pot and the water is warm, here I've got a rivet that is going to nestle at the bottom, and the pudding is just going to sit on top of it. So out here we've given this a fold on top so that it allows room for slight expansion when this cooks for the next 5 hours. So this sits right in the center. Ensure the water touches it up to 3/4, and all you need to do now is cover this, and at least for the first 45 minutes do not open it because you want it to reach its temperature. But from here on, every 1 hour topple some warm water into it so that it doesn't burn dry. This Christmas pudding is truly what I call a day-night affair. You start in the afternoon and you're done by evening. So 5 hours of allowing this to steam, this is ready. All we're going to do is switch off the flame, bask in the scents that are there, and pick this out. And now for the glorified unveiling. I'm just going to snip the thread out and not open it because it's taken way too much time. And this gorgeous pudding is ready. Now I like to keep it a milder color so that it just shines through, but you can add some molasses or treacle into it just to get it darker in color. A Christmas pudding is always made in advance, where you allow it to come to room temperature after steaming it for about 5 hours. Then you cool it down. Once it cools down, you line it back again on top with this round parchment paper. Wrap it in foil, either chill it in the refrigerator or just leave it in the room on the side. On Christmas Eve, you steam it again for about 2 hours, demold it, and then flambe either some rum or technically some brandy on the top. However, I want to show you how it looks like, so we're just going to demold it now. But be rest assured, I'm going to put it back in and store it for Christmas Eve. This is how this gorgeous Christmas pudding looks, and all you need to do is heat up some brandy in a steel ladle and pour it on top. It's perfect to enjoy for Christmas Eve. I hope you enjoyed creating this glorious dish with me. Simple to create but super time consuming, and the end result is truly worth it. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.